Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we're going to do a Let's Play and full live review for Kayak VR Mirage, a game released on the Steam store today, July 12th, 2022, for all the major VR headsets. It normally retails for $23. It's on a release sale, 15% off. I bought it at that sale price, and I'm testing it out on the Meta Quest 2 using a link cable. Now, I am on an RTX 3080, and as you saw, I did have the graphics on Epic. The only higher one is Cinematic. And I have pixel density at 1.4, sharpness at 1, MSAA on. I do have DLSS on. I have it at 3 quality. I have it at sharpness 0.8. And to me, this is where I look the best while still getting almost 90 frames per second. I do have a few frame rate drops in there, but nothing major. You know, might go down to 89, 88, but nothing really major or noticeable. So I like this. This is about as high as it can go. I did notice that if when I was on 5 quality and quality ultra that my frame rates would go all the way down to 45 frames per second. I also have pixel density to 1.5. So just a few changes, and this seems to be the perfect one for my RTX 3080. There are some other settings. There's two big things to know about this. There's arcade and there's simulation. So arcade is so much easier that's what I recommend until you get used to this game. Arcade just makes it so much easier to paddle around. Kayak VR Mirage, as a lot of people have said, is a beautiful game. And in my opinion, it is the best kayak boating simulation in VR. But it's not perfect. There are some flaws. There are some issues. I think the biggest competition to this game would be downstream VR whitewater kayaking. These two titles are very different. So this goes for like a very almost realistic environment. And the physics for paddling are really good here. Whereas downstream VR is more like an arcade feel to it. But the big difference is there the water, since it's white water, you can feel like the waves and the current kind of taking you away, and you kind of have to both fight and go with the current here. That's not so much the case, a little bit, but nothing too big. The graphics do look great. A lot of people have said these are the best graphics they've seen in VR. I'm not sure I agree with that, just because I've played a lot of VR nature. Here, look at this. You can push yourself away from the shore. That's pretty cool, right? I really like how the water splashes. If there's a complaint I have is the haptic feedback. At least on my Meta Quest 2, it just isn't always there. It's kind of inconsistent, I've noticed. And like I said before, you see the waves here. They're pretty calm. And, in some other, there's 4 maps. And I'll show some of the other maps, and you can see, some of them, yeah, there's a little bit more going on there, the more rough waters. But it's never really a part of the gameplay. It's not like, you have to go with the current here or anything like that. It's not like whitewater rafting or like any kind of serious kayaking. It's pretty calm all the way around. The other thing is there are invisible boundaries. So eventually you will hit an invisible boundary. I think all but one map have invisible boundaries. The one map that doesn't is the canyon map, and that's just because it's kind of like a little loop around. So that's why you never see the invisible boundaries. But the invisible boundaries do exist in all the other maps. And by the way, there is a day and night cycle to this. And another thing I've noticed about this game is it looks very beautiful up close or even at mid-range distance. But once you get farther from the coast, it starts to look a lot worse. I'm not sure exactly why, but it just doesn't look as crisp and as clear as it should. And I don't know why. But I do notice a significant drop-off in visual quality. Maybe I need better glasses, but to me it seems to be the case that the farther you are, the worse it looks, and the less realistic it looks. And it does have kind of like a too bright and a little bit of a game look to it. I've played, like VR Japan, and, that's just very realistic looking all the way around. Oh, by the way, there are fish. Did y'all see that? There's different maps. One of them has like a killer whale that you'll see jump out of the... Oh, here. What is this? Is this a shark or a dolphin? Let's see. Let's try to get closer. But you see, the water is very... Look, I think they're dolphins. Yeah, they're dolphins. Well, I hope we get to see them jump up from the water. That would be so awesome. So I'm going to follow the dolphins. One of them does have sharks, by the way. So if you're afraid of sharks, beware. But you see the dolphins are right below us. The water is so clear that you can see them. That is pretty awesome. So yeah, I mean, just from the visual candy, I think this experience is worth it. Plus, like I said, the physics are pretty good, excellent, but not perfect. Keep in mind, right now I have it on arcade, so this is just for easy rowing. If you want to challenge yourself, I don't know if we're going to see the dolphins jump. I really hope we do, but I'm not sure we're going to see that. Come on, jump, please. Please, I'm begging you, please. I'm begging you to jump from the water. But yeah, no, it looks absolutely gorgeous, but it's not perfect. The invisible boundary is the biggest thing. And I think we're getting very close to the invisible boundary. And if you notice, in the horizon, it looks kind of flat. And it looks like we're going to fall off the world if we keep rowing that direction. So you can tell that there is a cutoff there. That's not how it would look in real life. Although, in real life, just depending on how calm the water is, it could look something very close to this. But to me, I just can tell, like, I can certainly see the edge of the world in the drop-off. And sometimes you can get that effect in real life, but I don't think it's quite this dramatic. And that's why it doesn't look exactly right. The music is okay. And the splashing sounds are alright. They're not the best. But, pretty good. I don't want to complain too much because it's honestly pretty good. So I am nitpicking with the sounds here. But, like, how realistic does that sound? Yeah. If it was real life, it obviously doesn't sound like real life. But, it's not bad either. So I don't want to complain too much. I definitely like the way the water splashes. That is quite the treat there. And we are getting very close to the edge. Now, there is an option where it talks about smooth turning. And what that does is that there is no turning in here. You have to turn in real life. Okay. What smooth turning means is when you hit the edge of the world, you get turned around versus the camera. And that might make you motion sick. It's turned off by default. And unless you just want that effect, I would recommend just leaving it off. I turned it off just because, this is something that I probably want to showcase to family and friends. So, I'm leaving it off for that reason. Now, I do notice a little graphical glitch. You'll see here in the water, you see like there's a little image that makes the kayak front look like, you see that? I don't know can you see that? It's like a little graphical glitch, like the wave reflection there doesn't look very realistic. It makes the kayak look like it has an object protruding from its sides just because the reflection's a little bit too strong. The skybox looks okay during the day, but at nighttime, it doesn't look as good. It looks kind of flat. But you can see, although this game does look really good up close. Here we are. We're out of bounds. You see resetting in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So we're going to reset now. There you go. So now we're facing the right way. We went as far as we're allowed to. Let's go ahead and let's go to a different place. Let's go to Bjorna, and let's go free roam, and let's go during the storm. This is probably my favorite out of all the different ones. I just love this. I wish there was real-time weather and real-time day and night for the different maps. There's 4 different maps. But no, you can only choose day or nighttime, or in this case, we can also choose storm. I think most of the maps only have 2 options. There's only 4, like I said, so. But yeah, this looks great, I think. This is my favorite one to traverse in. And you notice here the waves are a little bit more choppy. But, you know, if you compare this to downstream, you know, whitewater kayaking VR, it's just a very different experience. There, the kayaking is more arcadey, and your paddle is actually broken up into 2 different pieces for each of your controller hands. But it's also more challenging when you're doing the races, just because of the way the currents work downstream and how you have to both fight them and go with them at the same time. So it presents more of a challenge, but obviously the water being very choppy here, you can definitely see it makes a big difference. I just wish that there was more like a current going one way versus just the choppy up and down motion that you have while kayaking. Now there is a dog up ahead. I don't know if you see him, but let's go say hello. Hello. And he's gonna bark. So the dog looks good, but again, I'm not gonna say that's the best looking dog I've seen in VR. You know, but again, it looks good. You know, I don't want to oversell this game, but I definitely don't want to undersell it either, because I highly recommend this game, and I think it's great. But some VR content creators want to make you believe this is the best looking experience in VR, and that's simply not true. There are more realistic looking experiences in VR. However, one with actual gameplay like this, probably not. So as far as you know, since this actually has kayak racing in it, I would say that differentiates it from all the rest. So the fact that this has real actual gameplay on top of being visual candy, I would say that definitely would put it at the top. Just depending on what you want. I don't think it's so easy to say this is the best looking VR game, even, you know, actual gameplay. Just because, you know, there's something like the Forest VR or Green Hell VR. And Green Hell VR doesn't look as good as this, right? You know, I think we can all agree on that, right? Yeah, I mean, obviously, right? But on the other hand, when you look at Green Hell VR, it has a very dense forest, a very dense jungle, and there's a lot of systems going on at the same time. Here, that's not really the case. You know, yes, that looks great, and yes, the water, especially hitting the waves, looks great. But when I look up at the sky, the rain doesn't look great, and you know, there's just a lot of empty space as well. You know, it's not a dense map, and it's not a big map either. Like I said, you can hit the edges pretty quickly. But this does look great, and the physics work really good. But I do have an issue with the haptic feedback. It's not always there. Like, I don't know, it kind of feels like you're not really rowing. You don't have enough force feedback, you know. It kind of feels like you're just barely touching the water, if that makes sense. But let's go ahead. I showed earlier the settings, and I said that... Oh, by the way, there's stuff like force multiplier Again, you don't want this turning multiplier, this moves camera rotation on. That's only when you leave the boundaries. The vignette, if you want it on, I don't need a vignette, so we're not going to do that. And this is just obviously if you want to roll faster, you can. Actually, I guess if you want to go slower, you can. No, actually, I think if you lower the force multiplier, you go faster. But there. So we want to do something. We want to change it to simulation. That's first. So simulation. So now we changed it to simulation, and the paddle is now a lot more difficult with simulation. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not moving as well as I was before. So before I could really just lightly get on the water and I'd still be moving pretty fast. But now that's no longer the case. I don't know if you can tell because I don't really have. This is not really the best map to test this theory out on. Let's change the map. Let's go to Kings Canyon. That's also very beautiful looking. I'm not choosing night for any of them. Antarctica does have an aurora borealis at night, and it looks okay though. It doesn't look as good as I thought it would though. Again, some VR nature walking apps, relaxation apps, have better looking winter environments with better looking aurora borealis than this game. But the water looks great. It's not very deep, which is I'm not sure why they did that. I'd like to see deeper water. And you'll see the bird animation. It looks fine. It looks good. But I wouldn't say it's the best bird animation I've seen in VR. In fact, a lot of the animal animations are good, but I wouldn't say they're excellent, But they're good, I don't want to complain too much because I really do love this app. And if I'm being nitpicky, it's just because I think a lot of people are overhyping this experience. So I kind of want to bring it down a notch. Not because it's not good, but just because I think it might set unrealistic expectations on people. Especially if you're a VR veteran and you've seen lots of different VR experiences like me. I have almost 3,000 VR games in my library. Hundreds more on my Oculus library. So I have thousands of hours in VR. I would say in total with Steam and Oculus, I probably have at least 8,000, if not 10,000 hours. Somewhere in that range, though. So I have a lot of time in VR. A lot of time in VR. And because of that, I've experienced different types of VR experiences. Not just games, but, lots of VR nature walking simulators. Again, this is the simulation, and I mostly wanted to show the difference between this and the arcade, but that's not the only difference. So let's go back to settings, and you notice that I had changed it from arcade to simulation. You can also put your height and position offset. There's also an automatic HMD reset, so I'm going to do that right now. So you see how I reset myself just with a push of a button. And one thing I want to do is controllers attached to stick. I'm going to put it on, and I'll put rotate blades on, inverse rotation on, and blade angle effects force. So, and you can also adjust offsets between controller and stick. I'm not going to mess with this, but just to let you know, you can do that. So let's go ahead and let's check this out. So look at this now, how I can change the blade. See that? How I'm rotating the blade? Pretty cool, right? Unfortunately, this does make it a whole lot more difficult to paddle. But it is pretty cool that you can do that. Now, my main criticism, besides obviously the invisible boundaries, if you've seen my channel, you know that recently I reviewed Recreation Room, and I said that nature walking experience is one of the best ever. I gave it a really high score, and the reason for that is because it did not have any boundaries. It was limitless. And once you've experienced something like that, which, an experience with no boundaries, is just limitless miles and miles of environmental map where you can just walk and walk and walk and get lost, it kind of sucks to go back to a boundary. Now, the good thing about this map is that there is no visible boundary. I mean, it is a loop, so it does have a boundary, but it's well hidden. So you can still stay immersed because you don't hit an invisible boundary, because it's basically a loop that you can go around. So again, I'm going a lot slower now because of the simulation and the way that I have. And I'm not a kayaker, so I assume that you want your to get the most out of speed, that you want the widest possible part of your paddle to hit the water. But there might be situations where you want to hit it like this. But I'm not sure exactly what situations those are. But yeah, this looks great. But let's go back to settings. And let's go back to general. And let's turn this off. Okay, let's turn that off. Let's go back to arcade. And hopefully you can see the difference between... See? Going a lot faster now. This is a lot easier. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna race, and since we haven't gone to Antarctica, we're gonna race in Antarctica, and we're gonna choose the easiest race. There are races of different difficulties, as you see. That's 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars. We're gonna choose the 1-star race, and let me tell you, the race in Kings Canyon downstream is very difficult, along with Olympic. Those are, you see, I didn't even get bronze. It is tough. I'm number 1 with my friends, though. But let's go ahead and let's show the one place we haven't shown, which is Sierra Cove, Antarctica, and let's race, and that'll be the last thing that I do. So I know I've criticized this game a lot. One last criticism before I actually do the race. I would love a couple of things, a couple of improvements, okay? One of the big things is, as you can see, you cannot see your avatar hands. So you cannot see where you have your controllers. So your hands are just automatically on the paddle. Now, you can go into settings and you can manually change where your hands are. That's not quite the same as having avatar hands and being able to physically place your hands where you want on the paddleboard. That's really would be the ideal situation. That way you can put like both hands on one place here and go like this if you wanted to. Or, you could put your hands close or put your arms wide apart if you want. If you are allowed to do that, but you can't. So you can't see your arms. Obviously, you cannot see your body. You do have a hat, so there are unlockables. Actually, let me go to the pool. Let's go to the pool, and I can show some of the unlockables, and then we can do a race. So there are unlockables. Those depend on how much you've been paddling. So let's go to the shop, and you see we have 870 sea miles. That's from doing races. And we can unlock this already if we want to. Pink swirl, yellow, and blue. Let's do the blue swirl there we go. And paddle skin, we're going to do the blue swirl. Okay, there we go. So cool. And there's hats. We don't have enough for a hat, and you can change that. That's probably the least important thing, but definitely you want a hat for the multiplayer. So let's go ahead and let's do multiplayer. Let's do a race. And we haven't done Sierra Cove. We're going to do a race. We're going to do the easiest race. Sorry, guys, but I'm pretty tired from having rode all day, so I don't want to do a harder race. But let me tell you that Australian map, downstream or Olympic, are very difficult. They're very technical races, actually, because it's real easy to be facing the wrong way. So it is quite the challenge. Hopefully, I'm able to do fine here. Besides the avatar hands, like I said, the haptic feedback can be a bit better. Obviously I would like to have full avatar body. And probably the one request I have for this game, and I know I've said this before, but if you could kayak with your friends, that way you can like talk to them and just, a casual thing. It doesn't have to be during the race. Like, I'm fine with the asynchronous races. I don't know that we need live multiplayer races, but that obviously would be cool as well. But what I would really like is to be able to navigate around the map with a friend and just have a chill kayaking experience with a friend. And I'm the only cool one with a light blue kayak. Another request is to be able to listen to my own music. So I'm not really a fan of this music, if I'm being honest. Oh no, come on, we're okay, that really messed us up. So we're not going to have a good time anymore, because one little mistake here can really cost you your... Oh no. Oh man. So one little mistake has cost us a lot during this race. That's fine. You can reset your boat position. We might need to do that. No, we don't need to do that. Okay. It is possible to reset your boat, but I just don't like doing that because I kind of feel like that's a little bit on the cheating side. It doesn't really punish you. You just do this start at the time that you're already at. So it can be a way to get a faster time. Oh, come on. Doesn't want to turn. It doesn't want to turn. Come on. Dude, come on. Turn. Oh, come on. No. Well, it didn't want to turn for whatever reason. Okay. Well, I'm not doing good during the race. I kind of feel like you do need like a practice run. Because it's hard to like just start off a cold on a race until you get used to the map a little bit. So you need like a practice run. Kind of get your bearings. Okay, there we go. We're almost done. Yeah, so multiplayer would be really great. Not just for the races, but just to be able to chill out with a friend. And lastly, what I would like is kind of like a roller coaster experience. One where your kayak goes around a predetermined path around the map, and you can just sit back and relax and chill out without having to row. I think that'd be really awesome, because you do get tired from rowing. It is a good workout, but sometimes you just want to chill out, and that's the one thing that keeps this from being like a relaxation app, is just that you do have to row, and you can get very tired from that. But other than that, I really like this game, and if I have to rate it, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. Highly recommend it. I think it's great. I hope they add more maps, because currently there's only 4. There are several races you can do, and obviously you can improve your races, but I would estimate for most people, you'd probably start getting bored of that maybe after 10 hours. So there's not really a whole lot of content here. So you definitely need more maps, and probably multiplayer, not just asynchronous, but actual multiplayer to keep you interested in keeping great feeding this experience. But anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. Like I said, I highly recommend this, and I think it is the best kayaking experience in VR, bar none. Better than all the rest. Just the visuals, the physics, the rowing physics, just the total package is really great. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. Hope you enjoyed this live review. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.